Greetings and bienvenue, Maineman crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I noticed that there were a lot of other state threads popping up, but none of them seem very interesting. Are there any other X users on here from the good old 207? I can personally testify that we're in one of the most paranormal states in the US of A. I'm going to type up some stories about some exploits that I've had with two very strange friends of mine. Here's a good introduction to my two strange friends who seem to live completely outside normal society. I first met them about 3 years ago at a party for my girlfriend. She cheated on me and left me about a year ago. I'm still pretty sore about it, but whatever. 2012. Theoretically, the world is gonna end any minute. Theoretically. I spend a lot of time on K, Lit, and Mu. Occasionally going over to X for giggles. Have trouble sleeping after the first Skinwalker story. Those hardcore 2012 spoops, am I right? I'm literally the average guy. Manlet. Kinda scruffy. I am an engineering major. I'm not as smart as most, but I ain't dumb either. I was about 22 at the time. Had nothing going on other than college classes and a summer job at my aunt's antique shop. By summer job I mean I got drunk and slept all day in my aunt's antique shop. If anything spoopy ever happened there I was too far gone to know it. My aunt was a lush so she didn't care and paid me above minimum wage. Under the table too. Fuck you Uncle Sam. Met a girl and didn't act autistic. Nice. Things are going well. After about a month or two of hooking up she starts introducing me to her friends. Not nice. I don't know how to act around people I obviously share no interests with. I manage to dodge or politely meet a few of her friends. Holy fuck, why does she have so many friends? August comes around and the GF's birthday is on the 12th.
I wanna have a big party with all of my friends.
Sorry babe, I don't think I can make it.
I'll let you get wasted.
I'm there. Alcoholism is real, kids. I get to the party and my heart fucking sinks. Katy Perry blaring. These people look normal. Uh-oh. I immediately go over to the drinks table. Whip out a fifth of vodka I bought on the way over. Sir Mix-a-Lot has arrived. Mix it up. Shaken, not stirred please. I'm about 3 drinks in and I haven't even attempted to be part of the party. GF is off receiving gifts from everyone and I really don't want to be there. Pick very related. I think I'm literally scaring people away from the drinks table. I wish I could care. I turn around to make another drink. Things start feeling pretty cheeky. My drink mixing skills disappear completely. Flavored vodka mixes with regular vodka, right? I finish my monstrosity and take a sip. Oh wow. These aren't the tastes you're looking for. I put down the drink and look for something to mix it with. As soon as I turn around I nearly shit myself with pure surprise. 3 people managed to sneak up behind me.
Hey, main guy, the first want you to meet my favorite couple.
I managed to yell, "Ah holy shit," really loudly. Fucking smooth. My girlfriend literally jumps, but the other 2 people just stare at me. I can't blame them. As my girlfriend and I come to our senses, I notice a few things about her favorite couple. They're both very tall, 6 feet plus. Both dressed almost entirely in black. Both wear big, thick glasses. Both of them are absurdly skinny. Neither of them seem to blink or say anything.
Anyways maingy, I'd like to introduce you to blank and blah.
For the sake of privacy we'll call them Dez and Grace. I reach out to shake their hands. Nothing. Okay, I guess they're not about that life. As I begin to pull my hand away, Dez reaches out and grabs my hand. Wow, what a grip. I look directly into his eyes and whimper slightly. Holy shit, when you stare into the abyss stares back into you.
It's nice to meet you, main guy. Your GF has told us a lot about you.
The only thing that took me away from his eyes and his grip was his voice. He had this deep, salty, sensuous voice. He always spoke like he was doing a radio show. Okay, cool. I squirm a little to get out of his grip. He har ho ha, I hope she hasn't told you too much about me. No reaction. Not ever a twitch out of either of them. Dez puts his hand on my shoulder and says,
Maine guy, I'd like you to meet a very special woman. This is Grace.
I extend my slightly crushed hand. She smiles and grabs my hand. Oh wow, that's a soft hand. Dez's hands were like bricks and Grace's hands were like pillows. Incredibly thin pillows. I like these guys, they're weird. Can I mix you fellas a drink? They don't drink. Okay, well I think some people are out back having a smoke if you want to join them. They don't smoke. Okay, well I think they have the game on in the living room if you want to hang out. They don't watch TV. Every time I offer to do something, Dez politely declines. Damn, okay then, so what do you guys like to do? Finally, Grace speaks.
We like to go on adventures.
What is that supposed to mean? I don't understand. Dez gets really close to me and motions for the door. With the loud music and people, I can't blame them for wanting to go outside. But I didn't want to go with them. Something about them seemed really off. Not close encounters of the third kind off. Just off. They were just too clean. They both walked outside, and I put my drink down for good and followed. I step outside and shut the door behind me. Where did everyone go? It's about 10 p.m. at this point, so it's dark. The streetlights aren't cutting it. I walk down the front steps and look up and down the street. Dez and Grace did a fucking Houdini. I turn around to go back inside and I hear a car come gliding up the street. I turn around and sure enough it's Dez and Grace in a beat-up 2004 Ford Escape. They park in front of the house, get out, and join me on the front steps. Dez smiles. At least I think it's a smile. Dez sits down next to me and gets really close. Whoa there partner, buy me a drink first.
You see, Maine guy, I can call you Maine guy, right? Good. You see that car right there? It doesn't look like much, but whenever we get the feeling that we need to go somewhere, Grace and I pile into that car and go for it. We don't know where we're going half the time, and we don't really care. We save money by not participating in regular society, so we can go on adventures. We don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't have cable TV, we live in a house her father built in the middle of nowhere and our expenses are minimal. We live to go out on adventures. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes a lot more than we bargained for happens. Cops and robbers stuff. We figure out how long we can go out for, and we do it. That is what I mean when I say we go out on adventures.
Fucking what? I have nothing to say. So, you're like gypsies. Why was that the first thing that came into my head? Dez's face got very stern for a second.
Do not talk about gypsies. They are very unpleasant people.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wait, what? Before I can say anything, Dez stands up and says,
I like you, Maine man. I can sense that you want more than what you have, and I can respect that. What do you think of a little adventure?
Oh shit. Oh fuck me. Am I getting abducted? What kind of adventure are we talking about? Why am I responding? This is the booze talking. I don't want to go on an adventure. Dez smiles and says,
It'll be a little adventure, don't worry. Quote.
Grace taps Dez on the shoulder and whispers in his ear. Dez turns back to me and says,
And it might get dangerous. I think it's right for me to tell you.
Oh, dangerous. What do you mean by dangerous?
There is a chance you might get killed or injured and no one will find you body.
Fuck me, I'm hanging out with a serial killer.
Have you ever heard of a thing called urban exploration, Maine guy?
Okay, so I'm not going to be murdered. That's sort of a relief. Holy shit, yes, I've always wanted to do that. It's every man's dream to one day go on an urban exploration adventure. and I was about to live out my wildest dreams of spookiness. Okay, you've got me all excited now. Where would we go? I could see that Dez was happy that I would even consider going.
Well, there's an abandoned paper mill about an hour and a half north of here, and we've been trying to go back there for some time. The first time we went, we had some minor issues that made us leave early.
Wait, what? Well, what do you mean by that, Dez?
Oh, you know, Maine guy. The standard sorts of thing. The whole place has been having problems for a while, and we wanted to go check it out.
Well, that was fucking helpful. You're gonna have to be more specific there, Dez.
It's really nothing that you'd be interested in, Maine guy. We need a third man to come along, and we'd be delighted if you came with us. Any friend of your GF is a friend of ours. The whole place has been abandoned for years, and the town cleared out completely a few years ago. The whole place is in old Indian territory, so it's really far from the rest of civilization.
Hold the fuck up. What was that middle part again? Before I could reply, Grace spoke up.
Hey, Maine guy, it would really mean a lot to us if you came. It would be really difficult for us to make this trip with just 2 people. It would mean the world to us if you came.
Wheel, I'm sold. I never do anything cool. All my life I've been a boring fuck. Time to do something interesting for once. Descartes mode activated. You've got it, fellas. I'll come with you. After I get my stuff, we hit the road. After about 5 minutes, I start regretting my decision big time. What the fuck am I doing? I'm hanging out with people who say adventure. Who the fuck says adventure? What are they, vampires? I'm going to die tonight. I'm in a car, going to an abandoned factory somewhere. With 2 complete strangers. No one knows where I am or where I'm going. I don't have to answer to anyone but myself. I'm pretty much alone. Man, now that I say it like that, it sounds pretty rad. I can get behind this whole adventure business. After I calm myself down, I look out the window at the night sky. Man, it's nice out tonight. Especially that moon. Damn, that's a fine full moon. That's a full fine moon. Moon. Full moon. Wait a second. Hey, guys?
What's up, Maine guy? Do you need to go to the bathroom? We're coming up to the last gas station for the next 40 miles.
No, that's fine. I just thought of something. I noticed that it's a full moon tonight, and we're going to an abandoned mine or whatever, and it's in old Indian territory, and you mentioned that there have been problems there. Dez lets out a really strange, uncomfortable laugh.
Ha 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 ha.
What the fuck, dude? Dez, I would feel better if you gave me a bit more info so I don't make a fool out of myself. More strange, uncomfortable laughing.
Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, Maine guy. The way you phrased that was impeccable.
What?
Look, Maine guy, what are you scared of exactly?
Dude, come on. Don't be that guy. You know, werewolves. After I heard how stupid that sounded, I felt a fucking fool. The entire car bursts into laughter, myself included. After the laughter dies down, Dez pulls into the gas station he pointed out earlier. He turns around and jokingly grabs my knee and says,
Don't worry, Maine guy. Werewolves aren't real.
I laughed a little to ease the tension.
We're going after something called a Wendigo, which is much scarier.
Wait a second. Hey Dez, wait, what? Before I can finish my sentence, Dez is out of the car pumping gas with Grace, who got out and paid. I sit there for a second. He's gotta be fucking with me. I get out of the car, and the muggy summer air hits me like a fish. Hey Dez, I think I misheard you. What did you say?
Oh, sorry, Maine guy. I said we were going after a Wendigo. It's like a werewolf, but it never turns back into a human. It's eternally hunting and pissed off. In my opinion, that's much scarier than a creature that turns into a beast every month. That's more like Grace on her period than an actual scary monster.
Grace grimaced for a second, and went back to pumping gas while Dez walked over to my side of the car.
If it makes you feel any better, Maine guy, we're not sure what it is. We've made a well-educated guess and we think it's a Wendigo. It could be a werewolf like you said, or it could be nothing. It could be a regular wolf. We're not sure, but there's been a lot of trouble in the area.
Okay, so they're not serial killers or thrill seekers. They're fucking psychos. What makes you think it's a Winnebago and not something else? Dez laughed for real this time. I couldn't tell if he was just nervous or if he was just strange. I'll go with a bit of both.
All we really know is that there's something out there that's been bothering people for a long time, and we want to go on an adventure.
I'm really beginning to dislike that word. So it could be nothing?
Either way, we're taking a little walk through the paper mill tonight to see what's up.
I remembered that they mentioned something about going before. Did you find anything the last time you went? Dez went from laughing and smiling to dead serious faster than I could comprehend.
We didn't find anything.
He went back to pumping gas. What the fuck? Abort the mission. I just wanted to explore. Not having a supernatural creature explore my insides. I need to get out of here. They're not keeping me here so I can ask to leave. I can just walk away. I have a cell phone and a wallet. I am an adult, damn it. I'll call a taxi. I'll go inside, call a taxi, go home, sleep in my bed. And then wake up tomorrow to my absolutely normal, boring, dismal life, where I drink every day to forget that I hate my life. Oh yeah, I could do that, or I could hang out with these two psychopaths for the night and see what happens. Plus, monsters aren't real, so at the worst it's a couple of bears. Now that's a completely different problem. Bears are real. I've seen them. They have teeth and claws. Unless tall, dark, and psychotic is packing some serious heat, we're going to have a bad time. Hey, Dez?
Hey, Maine guy, we're ready to head out. You should get back in the car. What's your blood type?
What's my what? I'll act like that didn't happen. Hey Dez, I was wondering what you intend to do when you find the mythical beast. And I was wondering if you had anything in mind if bears show up.
It's funny that you should mention that, Maine guy. I was just thinking of that myself.
You were what?
No matter what it is, we're going to have to do something about it. How about you let me worry about that for now, and you enjoy the ride? Yes?
Well, that doesn't really answer my.
Fantastic. Let's get going.
Grace and Dez get in the car and I'm left standing outside clutching the door handle wondering if I should make a move. Well, I've gone this far. Let's go all the fucking way then. I get in the car and we drive off into the night. After another 45 minutes or so in the car we started to see fewer and fewer cars on the road. A few silent miles later Dez leaned over and shoved in a CD.
Do you like classical music, Maine guy?
Fucking Ride of the Valkyries comes on. Who are you people.jpg? Sorry, I don't listen to very much classical music. Mostly basic, garbage. Dez looked back at me and sneered.
Mew is a cesspool for a true music lover.
Holy shit dude, you're scaring me now. For the next 20 minutes or so we drove along a completely abandoned road. We were the only people for miles. Suddenly we took a sharp left turn onto a road that hadn't been repaved in years. From my point of view it looked like the forest started to swallow the car whole. The trees began creeping closer to the road as we drove further down until the road was essentially a one-lane path. After another mile, we stopped. Wagner was still wailing softly in the background. Grace and Dez whispered to each other and then got out of the car. I followed suit. Every light from the car turned off as soon as I exited the car and Dez fired up his big flashlight. He handed me a slightly smaller LED one and Grace took a few small ones for herself. They were both talking to each other, but I was too spooked by the forest around us to pay attention to what they were saying. I didn't get any sort of vibe from the forest. Living in Maine, you usually get a vibe from the places you go. Whether it's calm, or friendly, or welcoming, or a big fuck off vibe. I didn't feel a damn thing looking into the woods with my light. And that scared the shit out of me. While I surveyed the tree line, I saw the normal assortment of woodland animals that would get curious at night. Hello Mr. Squirrel, nice to see you. Hello Mr. Bird, it's always a pleasure. Hello, you must be Mrs. Squirrel. Hello. Giant yellow eyes deep in the woods at around ground level. Wait a second, that's not very halal. I back up into Dez and power whisper. Hey Dez, what the fuck is that? He looks up for a second and looks back down into the trunk and says, that's a cat. I was hoping that you'd be more familiar with the animals out here than that. Fuck you. I'm on edge and kind of buzzed. What's in the trunk, fellas? Looks like road flares. Lots of road flares. That's a lot of flares. Dez and Grace both grab a few flares each and shove them in their pockets. Dez offers me some, but I politely decline. Man, I hope there isn't a Winnebago out here. Aw shit, I forgot all about the Winnebago. Hey Dez, you never told me what we're gonna do about the Winnebago.
Well, that's why you're here, Maine guy. The Wendigo likes to hunt down and consume its prey. We were hoping that you could help us out with that. You seem to be its type.
Red alert, red alert. It's a catastrophe. They're using me as Winnebago bait. How did I not see this coming?
They can smell your fear, which is why we think you'd be the perfect lure. You're like a walking Wendigo pheromone bag, if that makes more sense.
So I'm bait?
No, not bait. Bait usually dies in the process. We don't want to give the wrong impression.
Motherfucker, we're light years past wrong impressions. All of my what?
You're like a duck call.
I'm like a duck call.
Yes, you're here to attract the Wendigo. There's a good chance you won't even see it or interact with it.
Okay, that's a relief.
Also, your existence is an insult to the creature and the spirits that inhabit this land, so you're a perfect pick.
Okay, you lost me again. Well, now I feel stupid. Why would two complete strangers ask me to come on a trip with them if they weren't gonna kill me? Well, they're not the ones killing me, but this is pretty bad too. Did you ask anyone else to come with you, or am I the perfect pick? Dez looked me straight in the eyes.
Anyone at the party would have been fine, but it's a lot easier to get a really drunk person to come along.
Okay, fair enough. So you essentially chose me at random?
No, that's not true. We thought you had a definite Omega-type personality. And we're kind of a douche, so you were out first pick.
An Omega type. I thought I was beta at the worst.
Again, we don't want to give the wrong impression, but we didn't want to feel too badly if you died.
Okay, now that's just disturbing. So the last time you came here, did you bring a third person? Dez looked at Grace and then back at me.
Yes, we brought another person, but the plan didn't work as well. We thought there was something different here, so we brought someone with a much stronger constitution than you. That's how we found out it was a Wendigo. They're not big fans of alpha males. They tend to kill them outright instead of stalking and tormenting their prey.
I am literally fucking speechless. What planet are you people from? What the fuck? Grace chimes in.
But don't worry, we're not going to let it get that far. We just need to get a few clear shots.
Well, okay then. I guess that's acceptable. What the fuck am I saying? That's completely insane. Holy shit, I am a fucking Omega.
We can't give you any weapons, because we're still not quite sure what will kill a Wendigo, but we solemnly swear to get you home safe.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. What is wrong with you two? What happened to the last guy you took with you, anyways? Dez comes over and gives me a friendly slap on the back.
Oh, don't worry, he's not dead. Just very badly wounded.
This isn't a game anymore, guys. This shit is real. I know they're lying to me. That first guy is dead as fucking disco. I'm going to be deader than fucking disco if I don't keep my cool. What if they're lying to me about everything and there is no Winnebago just to make me look like a stupid fucker? I ain't taking that risk. Before I can fully assemble a coherent sentence out of all the information that has just been given to me, we started walking down an overgrown path next to the car. The entire time I'm shitting myself. At this point I'm approaching stone sober. Fun's over, fellas. I'm constantly scanning the treeline for eyes. Winnebagos have eyes, right? So they'll shine back like any other set of eyes. There are a lot fewer animals now that we've been making a lot of noise and moving around. Dez and Grace are walking side by side at the front, and God, do they move fast. These short legs are killing me. I'm pretty much walking backwards trying to look at every angle. They don't seem very scared. What if they are just fucking with me? Either that or they know something I don't. Hey guys, when is the Winnebago gonna come out and try to eat me? They picked up the pace a little as soon as I said that. Should I not talk? What's happening?
Main guy, we're not even there yet. The Winnebago. The Wendigo probably doesn't even know you exist yet.
That's the first time I heard Dez call it a Winnebago. He's real worried. Wait. Why am I still here again? Why am I following these psychos into the woods? What does any of this have to do with me? I could just walk back to the car right now if I wanted to. I really want to. I think I'm gonna do that. I begin to slow my pace, so Dez and Grace start to move further in front of me. Red alert. Red alert. I'm in the middle of the woods, trying to ditch the only two people who know the way out. Just keep pace with the giraffe people. I ran back to Dez. As I catch up to them, we came to a big clearing. I was too busy watching the treeline behind me to notice what was coming up in front of me. I only looked when I ran headlong into Dez's back. Man, that's a sturdy dude. Man, that's a big smokestack. Wow, paper mills are fucking huge. It's hard to describe how big a paper mill is unless you're standing next to one. It's more than just one huge factory building. It's an entire compound filled with massive buildings, railroad cars, and smokestacks reaching up to the sky. All of it was abandoned. Everything looks pretty modern. Lots of concrete and steel. Probably last updated in the 60s or the 70s. Hey, Dez, why did they abandon the mill? We start moving forward and Dez brings me along his left-hand side. His right hand disappears into his black jacket.
Well, from what I can tell, the whole place shut down when it just wasn't profitable anymore. The whole town kind of died after that. It happens a lot in areas like this where there isn't much other than the mill. There's a town about 10 minutes away that's abandoned, but that's an adventure for another day.
Who the fuck says adventure this much in a single day? This man isn't human. After he finished his little story, I couldn't help notice him pulling a small cannon out of his jacket pocket. Pardon me, what do you think you're doing with that? Dez looked surprised.
What's wrong, main guy? Have you never seen a gun in person before?
I've seen guns in person before. I've fired a few guns. This was a revolver the size of my fucking head. Dez, what the fuck are you going to do with that? He looked at me like I was fucking crazy.
Well, I'm going to shoot the Wendigo and see what happens.
What.jpg? I'm real fucking confused right now. So is it some kind of magical gun that the Indians said could kill the Winnebago? It's just a regular gun. Okay, so you've gotta be using magical bullets blessed by a priest, a team of shaman, and a couple of rabbis, right? Just regular hollow point rounds. Are you some sort of Van Helsing character that goes out and kills monsters for a living, or what the fuck?
Main guy, I'm not even related to any Van Helsing dudes.
Dez, how are you going to kill it with a regular gun shooting regular bullets, and you're just some regular motherfucker?
You should probably calm down, main guy. I can assure you that I know what I'm doing. And these bullets are really expensive, so I don't appreciate you saying that they're regular.
Absolutely fucking unbelievable. Grace motions for us to follow her, and Dez walks off with her. Fuck I'm staying. They don't even have a magical phrasebook for when they meet the monster. I'm completely done with this shit. I have two options now. Either I can walk back to the car by myself and wait for them to come back, or I can follow the only armed people in a 20-mile radius. Fuck. I followed them into the darkness, but I didn't like it. I wasn't wearing the right shoes for this shit. I thought I was getting a BJ later. This is the opposite of a BJ running through an abandoned paper mill, chasing two psychos while we search for a mythical beast that may or may not kill us is not even close to a fucking BJ. We all file into a small, steel building that looks like the main offices for the whole paper mill. Eventually we find what looks like a conference room. Please have a seat with the board of directors, Mr. Main Guy. On your left you have Dez, a psycho dickhead with a gun. And on your right you have Grace, she's alright. And out the window is a bloody deer man walking on his hind legs across an open courtyard into our building. Wait, what? I don't even need to do a double take because I never looked away. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm not sure what I was even expecting. It isn't even that tall. It looks like it's about 100 yards off by this point. It's approaching the side entrance pretty slowly. It has the head of a buck with big, mangled antlers, with two massive yellow eyes. The front of its face goes out like a normal deer's, but its teeth were obviously sticking out of each side. It looked really uncomfortable. Looking at it made me feel really sick to my stomach, but not for any reason in particular. The whole experience felt surreal. I wasn't afraid while I was looking at it from a distance as it sauntered along on its business. I kind of respected it. Hey, Dez. I think I found the Winnebago. Dez shot up like a fucking rocket and stood next to me. We both stared out the window and Grace came over too. I don't even know what a Winnebago is supposed to be, but that thing looks like one gangly, stupid motherfucker. As soon as those words left my mouth, everything stopped. The Wendigo fucking stopped in its tracks. Nobody moves. Nobody gets hurt, right? The Wendigo stood like a fucking statue for what felt like ages before moving again, but this time it wasn't sauntering. I've never seen anything run that fast. It ran like a demon from the center of the clearing to the far side of the building we were in. Hey guys, the Wendigo is in the building. We're in the building. The Wendigo is also in the building. Uh-oh. I immediately vomited. I've never been so scared in my entire life. I vomited everything that I drank at the party and then I vomited some more. I nearly collapsed on the floor, but Dez picked me up and sat me down in an office chair.
Main Guy, listen to me very carefully. That is not a Wendigo. That's something a Wendigo decided to make into another Wendigo. It's slightly less terrifying than a regular Wendigo, but you should still be very afraid. I need you to sit here and watch out the window in case it doubles back. Grace and I will lock down this room, but you've given our position away and it's too late to move. If you see the thing, tell me right away, and then plug your ears. You will lose your hearing if I have to shoot this gun near you.
I vomited again, but it was a vomit of acceptance.
Please stop vomiting. It already knows we're here and I don't want to attract anything else.
Anything else? Dear God. I raced in my head to think where we are in the building in relation to the Winnebago Mark II. The building made a giant horseshoe shape and we were smack dab in the center of it. I saw it go into the far left-hand side of the horseshoe, but that was minutes ago. Or was it seconds? Time really doesn't work when you're scared. I turned around for a second and saw Dez looking down one side of the hallway while Grace watched his back. She had a gun too, but hers was just as normal as Dez's. I remembered that I was supposed to be watching the windows. I turned around to find that the window had been watching me. There was Mr. Wendigo Part 2 again, but this time he was much closer. Much closer and much taller. Things look really small when they're 100 yards away. When they're 20 feet away, you start to see them for their size. There was a 10-foot tall deer monster standing 20 feet away from me, and he looked pissed. I was frozen in place for a second. I didn't scream. I didn't call for help. I waved. It waved back. At least I think it waved back. At least it started to before Dez came screaming up to the window and pushed my chair out of the way.
Plug your ears, dipshit.
I was in a rolling office chair, so I went sliding across the room, eyes still fixed in the Winnebago Part 2. Plug my what? I've never heard Dez swear before. Boom. I had never heard anything so loud before in my life. My ears were ringing. Something awful. I flinched and buried my head in my hands covering my ears. This ain't the movies, kids. Boom. Another one. Holy shit, I'm covering my ears and the sound of the shots are still rattling my brains. 2 shots. 2 shots have been fired. I start to look up. I've got tinnitus, something awful in both of my ears, but things slowly started going back to normal. I'm all the way across the room against the far wall. Dez and Grace are both standing at the same window, with their guns drawn looking outside. They're not moving a single muscle, just staring. They're both wearing little orange ear protectors. Dickheads. I look outside and the Winnebago Part 2 is laying down facing upwards. One shot seems to have left a bog bloody patch in its chest and the other took out an eyeball and a big chunk of head. Its single, yellow eye is staring blankly at my window. I think I still have enough vomit left in me to go for gold. I retch again and fall out of my chair. Once again Dez comes over and lifts me up onto my feet.
You did great, Maine guy, just great, but we need to get out of here now.
I think I'm going to throw up. Grace came over and they both started dragging me down the hall.
Main guy, you need to start walking. We need to get out right now. If the Wendigo made one of these, he'll have made more. That one was weak, he went down easy, but we need to get out.
Oh God, there's more. Fight or flight response. This is your captain speaking, thanks for flying with us today. With my newfound strength, I started running behind Dez and Grace like a sprinter with a PCP problem. I was out. We ran out the door and past the other buildings, and the silos. Dear God, my stomach and legs hurt. Why did I drink every morning instead of exercising or acting like a normal human? What the fuck have I been doing with my life? It can't end like this. We went past train cars and more abandoned machinery. The entire time it felt like something was chasing us. I'm flashing my flashlight everywhere looking for eyes. Everything looks like eyes when you're shitting yourself. Maybe everything was eyes, I don't know. All I know is it sounds like we're making a lot of noise for 3 people running. We got out of the main facilities and we sprinted to the path by the clearing. The forest looks like a nightmare scene. I start seeing eyes everywhere looking out at me. Eyes low to the ground, eyes up and human height, eyes up in the trees. Dez and Grace grind to a halt and start eyeing up the tree line. Grace turns around to check behind us, and reloads a bullet into her revolver. The sound of her dropping the spare bullet on the pavement nearly made me shit myself. I never noticed how quiet it got after my hearing came back. The whole forest was fucking silent. No birds, no bugs, no bushes moving in the wind. Nothing. Oh God, the eyes are still there. Dez reached into his jacket and pulled out small flares and handed one to me and Grace.
These have to last until we reach the car or we're dead.
Fuck.
Cover your ears.
Fuck. I know what's coming. I covered my ears a millisecond before the first shot went off. They were peppering the tree line with everything they had. The eyes retreated for a second.
Light the flare, go go go.
Did I forget to mention that I don't know how to light a road flare? They were already gone, running into the woods with big red flares held over their heads. Fuck. I dropped the flare at my feet and ran as hard as I could. I was no more than 10 feet behind Dez and Grace at any given moment, but I could hear everything behind me. I was being chased by everything. Everything. The entire forest seemed to take a side, and it wasn't ours. I was too afraid to turn around to see what was going to kill me, so I just ran. I heard screams and cries and everything you could possibly imagine behind me. I swear to God I could feel something breathing down my neck. I was running like I'd never ran before. All I could see were the two bright beacons in front of me leading me onward. The trail couldn't have been that long, but I felt like I was running for hours. After an agonizing death sprint, I finally felt something like asphalt under my feet. We're back on the road. That means the car is close. That means I can go home. I saw the two road flares drop to the ground next to the car, and two figures jumped into the front seat. Start the car. Start the fucking car. The car roared to life and illuminated the road ahead. I was so close to making it, I could almost touch the door handle. Then the car started rolling forward just out of my grasp. You motherfucks. I'm not dead yet. They slowed down and I dove into the back seat. As soon as the door closed behind me, Dez put his foot down. It wasn't fast enough for me. Dez, go fucking faster. Jesus Christ. Oh fuck, my lungs burn. Oh God. I'm never drinking again, fuck me. My last words before I passed out in the backseat were, fuck me, classy. When I woke up I was back at the party. It was one of those all-night deals, so it wasn't that unusual for us to roll out at around 11 and make it back by 3-ish. Dez and Grace had dragged me back inside and dropped me off on the couch. They were seated on either side of me, trying to keep me from choking to death on my own vomit. Where was all of this vomit coming from anyways? My GF came over and rubbed my head.
Did they tucker you out, my little party animal?
I started crying.
Oh, I'm really sorry you guys have to see this. Maine guy is such an emotional drunk.
Dez gave me a pat on the back and said,
It's okay. He's been through a lot tonight. He wanted to go get wings and we got thrown out of Applebee's at like 1 a.m. It was a bummer.
My GF laughed a little and then left us alone. I turned to Dez. He gave me a completely blank expression and then shrugged his shoulders.
I told you, you don't need any magical bullets.
Dez, what the fuck just happened?
Maine guy, there's a lot out there that no one really understands. You can call it supernatural, paranormal, alien, it doesn't really matter. Every boogeyman story you heard as a kid has a little truth to it. Some of them just have a lot more truth than others.
Dez, how do you know all this? How did you know about the Wendigos? What the hell is your life? Dez stood up and took Grace by the hand.
Everybody has a place in this world, Maine guy. Some people are artists, some people are parents, some people aren't much of anything at all. We're just two people who like to take long drives and go on adventures.
Dez gave me a quick smile and then left with Grace. I ran after them and stood by the door as they got in their car. That really didn't answer my question, but thanks for that little tidbit, dickhead. They gave a wave, a smile, and then drove off into the night. That's the first time I ever saw Dez and Grace, but it would not be the last.
I have some personal stories that have happened throughout my life. I'll go ahead and start with the first one that ever occurred to myself and my family, and if anyone's interested I'll post the rest. When I was a child, not even 4 yet, my family lived in a small house in Portland, Oregon. It was very much a standard 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1-level home. When you walked in the front door, to right was the living room. Past that and forward is the kitchen. To the left was a small open area, and past that was the hallway with our bedrooms and bathroom. My bedroom was the first one, and that's where my story starts. I used to be plagued by night terrors. Anything and everything a young child could be scared of or have a nightmare of, I had it. It didn't help that my mother and father were both horror film junkies and would watch scary movies around me. So this just added fuel to my nightmare fire. The thing that terrified me most would be the thing I would dream about that night. It got so bad I would end up leaving my room and sleeping on the living room couch or with my parents. I know this sounds cliché for a child, but it gets a little bit weirder than that. My father or mother would sometimes lay in bed with me in hopes of getting me to calm down and sleep in my own room for the night, and this is where a pattern forms. If my mother slept in my room, she would sleep just fine. However, if my father did, he would be plagued by the same nightmares I endured, his greatest fears at the time realized in his dreams. This pattern extended to my cousins as well. Female cousins would sleep just fine. Male would have terrifying nightmares. This cycle continued the entire time we lived there. Eventually we moved out and were talking to neighbors. Evidently a young couple lived there prior to us. They ended up in a very heated argument one evening, and according to the neighbors we spoke to, they never saw the girl again. The boyfriend, however, soon began renovations on the house. I bet you can guess where. Right where my bedroom had been. I have a few other stories as well, most of them unrelated, and the only thing tying them together is my family, if you're all interested. Sorry for formatting, I'm on my phone at work. TLDR, Spoopy Ghost gave me night terrors when I was a kid because she was vindictive.
One time I was living up in Bar Harbor, Maine. There is a path which goes from a park on the ocean front near downtown along the ocean. It a public trail marked with a sign, goes for a mile or so. I walked that one night and then heading in toward the town where a path leads from the trail to a street that dead ends there. It was dark and I thought I was well enough away from a nearby residence that I could not be seen, and dropped my shorts because my inner thighs were hot from chafing on that long walk. Just wanted to air things out for a moment, and when I felt collar I buckled up and walked back into town to where I was staying. The next morning, as it was summer, I was walking toward the center of town and there was a heavy throng of tourists all over walking the street when I heard someone behind me say,
"Stop exposing yourself."
I was like, WTF. Had they seen me the night before without me seeing them, and they assumed I was trying to expose myself? As far as I could make out, I should not have been visible to anyone. It was a wooded, dark, dead end of a street with dense trees, very weird. I don't hear voices, and so I just shrugged it off and kept walking. Was this just my fear that I might have been seen causing me to assign a meaning to what I heard, whether accurately or a mishearing, or was this a metaphysical message directed at another kind of exposing myself?
Not really creepy, but Maine popped up, so here's a weird experience from Bangor. Woman at bus station in Bangor, Maine keeps glancing at me. Hungover, waiting to take the bus to university. Hey. She says in a phlegmy, smoker voice. The fuck? I ignore but she doesn't let up.
Hey.
Yeah.
Look at my foot.
Woman shows me her black, gangrenous foot. The fuck, man?
Born and raised. Living in Portland now, bub. I did have a few creepy experiences in Gardiner, Maine. Grew up in a house built in the early 1900s/late 1890s. Previous owners moved out in the 70s due to unexplainable activity. Their son had seen a woman on the stairs while he played guitar in the living room. His parents dealt with cupboards opening by themselves, and frequent sounds in the attic. They said fuck it and left, sold the place to my dad. Mom ran a daycare in the house. I spent a lot of time upstairs, which is where the daycare was located. Older brother occupied the upstairs bedroom. Traded with me due to night terrors, to the downstairs bedroom. I fucking started having night terrors. Dreamed of a girl in a white gown who lived in my closet. She would crawl to my bed and crouch just above me. Would see her face, and it was always a black skull. I would then wake up in and scream my head off. Happened countless times, always the same thing. Fast forward, move away to college. Dad sleeps in old bedroom and he gets home late from work so he doesn't wake up my mom and sisters. Slept in it a few times until he started sleeping in the living room instead. Complained that he had terrible nightmares. Oh fuck, correlations and shit. I asked my brother and dad about the dreams. Brother dreamed of a girl in a white gown. My dad wouldn't say what he dreamed of.
Have some land out in Aroostook County, Maine. Like to go up there from Cumberland County in the winter and summer to ride trails, hunt, and be away from people. 2 winters ago here howling. That's weird. Sounds like nearly 25 or more wolves out there. There are no known established wolf packs in this state. No way a pack of 20 plus went over the radar since forestry and game wardens are everywhere out here. Howling gets closer and closer. Eventually it's going around my home. Scratching at windows that are too tall for dogs to reach. Scratching at the door. Bangs and booms radiating around the house. Hide like a little with my 12 gauge and AR in the inner home bathroom. The sounds stop eventually and I wait until sunrise. Go out and see giant pad prints all over the property in the snow. I have not been back and tempted on selling it off. Now I have an idea why the nearest neighbors I had, that were miles away, all moved off too.
Hey guys, I'm back. It's nice to see that a lot of other people are joining in on the post. I was afraid that this whole thing would get buried and no Mainers would show up. I've actually been having some creepy experiences around when I wrote the story. For about the past 2 weeks I've been having an enormous amount of trouble sleeping. Every night I would have terrible night sweats and I would wake up 3 or 4 times a night. The night sweats were accompanied by a constant fever and really bad dreams. These dreams go really far beyond spoopy skeletons in my closet going boo. Every time I fell asleep I dreamed that I was laying in bed on my back and I would slowly suffocate until I woke up. This had been going on for a few weeks until I finally saw a doctor about 7 days ago. I went to see the doctor and they said that I probably had an ear infection and gave me an antibiotic to clear up any problems. I took the medicine for 5 days and nothing improved. If anything, my dreams and the night sweats started to get worse. The night I wrote the story about Dez and Grace, I went to sleep and had the longest, most drawn-out suffocation dream. I finally woke up and discovered that I was covered in a huge rash across my entire body. I freaked out and stopped taking the antibiotic immediately because I was having an allergic reaction to the medication. That night when I went back to bed I had a very uncomfortable night, but I finally fell asleep around 2 a.m. Like every night before this one I had the suffocation dream, but this time it was so much worse. I could actually feel the pain of my throat closing up and each breath becoming shorter. After what felt like hours of slowly suffocating I finally woke up. When I woke up I immediately sat up and started wheezing and coughing. My airways had started to close while I was sleeping and I was literally suffocating in my sleep like in my dreams. I was rushed to the hospital at 5 a.m. and given the full treatment for an allergic reaction. Steroids, EPI pen, everything you can imagine. My entire face had swollen up to 3 times its regular size and I could barely see or speak. I'm lucky that I didn't die in my bed. While it's kind of unrelated to the other stories, I find it very creepy that I had vivid suffocation dreams before nearly suffocating in real life. Really quite eerie. I'll post pictures of my rash with proof if someone wants me to write something on a paper and put it on my chest. TLDR. Maineman almost kill. Posting pics of gross body. Link to the thread and images is in the description.
Here's one my father has told people every time someone brings up demons or paranormal activity. Rural area in Maine. There's an old abandoned house a field away from a back road outside of town. Sometimes you can see it from the road. Sometimes it's not there at all. One night when my father was in his 20s, him and a couple of his friends went to explore the house and see if any of the rumors were true. The house was supposedly cursed with black magic. Town officials hold seances in the basement and sacrifice animals and people in an attempt to gain dark power and summon demons. It being invisible sometimes is also a rumor. It's there. Doesn't seem magical from a distance. As my father and his 3 friends start walking up the porch, my father is filled with a flight or fight response that unnerves him deeply. Guys, what if there's hobo junkies or a predator animal? We gotta at least open the front door, man, don't be a pussy. One of my father's friends, Dan, is leading the 4 of them. As he creaks open the door, he winces in disgust. Oh man, it smells horrible in here. As they gather in the entry room, my father smells it too. It smells like a rotting corpse, something he had experienced in the woods when he was younger. Dead deer. His spidey senses are going fucking nuts. Leave, go. Guys, we should just leave, this doesn't feel right. Relax, man, it's probably a dead raccoon or something. My father notices there is random chicken wire all over the house at first glance. Like some critter used to live in the house and the chicken wire kept it from going where the owner didn't want it to. But it's set up tall. Human height. One of the guys says, what the fuck is with this fencing shit? The same dread my father has been feeling suddenly hits the group. Something is rustling and moving upstairs. Dan says, fuck it, let's go see what that is, then we'll leave. The staircase is at the center of the building with walls on both sides. All anyone can see upstairs is off-white wall with some water stains. Dan starts going first. My father is in last place at the bottom of the stairs. He looks towards the kitchen and notices some of the chicken wire has long black hair on it. Too long to be any animal he's heard of. He looks back to the stairs as Dan is finally reaching the top. Dan, the courageous tough guy, peeks to the left and stops in his tracks. He turns around white as a ghost. He's hyperventilating and starting to cry. We need to. Everyone starts running for their lives before he can even finish his sentence. My father is the first one out of the building, and as the others follow, Dan starts shouting. Run, get back to the fucking car. As they pile in and leave in a panic, Dan is now crying like a baby. What the fuck did you see, man? Now trying to choke back tears in a state severe post-trauma distress, Dan starts struggling to describe. It was like a fucking pig, man. A giant fucking pig. What the fuck? He snaps a bit. But it was a dude. Walking like a person with hair and shit. He starts really sobbing and breaks down a bit. It's fucking eyes, man. It was like stealing my soul. It had no fucking eyes. He just keeps crying like a baby as everyone sits in bewilderment. They never speak of it again. Too terrified of what is even happening at the house. My father says years later Dan killed himself after a long downward spiral that started that day. As if it really did steal his soul. He can't sit through any media related to pigs or demons without feeling deeply unnerved, like when he first started walking up to the house. I have the body of a pig utterly terrifies him as well. He refuses to ever watch it again. Somerset County. Somewhere in a woods between Skowhegan, Madison, and Norridgewock. My father intentionally refuses to tell anyone exactly where it is out of fear that he may be sending someone to their death, whether it be through a demon or people crazy enough to fake a demon. Route 201 in Skowhegan has a road sign facing east advocating the local municipality, that's just a straight-up inverted pentagram for a symbol with wholesome pictures in each point, so the satanic cult theory might be true. I can't find any pictures of it online, but I'm sure you can find it in Roadview and Google Maps. I have seen it with my own 2 eyes as well, and thinking about it makes my stomach turn. The people in leadership in Somerset County are so psychotic and selfishly ego-stroking that I have half a mind to say it really is cursed with satanic magic. Everybody in Maine hates Skowhegan and the surrounding area as well. It's fucked in a way that can only be understood by living there.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Oh.